Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Timothy Lee, and I'm a mining analyst here at Red Cloud Securities. We welcome Jason Bahnsen, President and CEO of Tempus Resources. He will speak to us about Tempus's flagship Elizabeth Black Dome Gold Project in British Columbia, as well as its exploration properties in Ecuador. Jason, you have 15 minutes, and then we'll have a 5-minute Q&A at the end of the sessions. Attendees, please feel free to ask questions using the Q&A link below. Take it away, Jason.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you everyone for joining. So Tempus Resources, as Tim mentioned, our flagship project is the Elizabeth Black Dome project in British Columbia. Let's just see. Here we go. Here's a few metrics on the company for a moment. 125 million shares out, roughly a sort of $14 million Australian market cap. We're also listed on the TSX Venture under TMRR. And, at the moment, we have a lot of liquidity in Australia. We're building up our sort of shareholder base in Canada going forward. And our assets are in this time zone, and I'm based in the sort of Vancouver area. But here, the project location of Elizabeth Black Dome, we're just north of Vancouver, about 250 kilometers in the historic Braylorne Pioneer sort of gold belt. Other active players in the area you'd be familiar with, Talisker and Westhaven, all similar sort of stage of development. And Black Dome and Elizabeth, in total about 315 square kilometers of contiguous mineral leases. And this is the first time that both of these projects have been under the same ownership structure. And what I love about the area is there's a lot of operational synergies as well as corporate activity, and including mills in the area. And we have an existing 200 ton per day mill at Black Dome, which is a part of the overall package. And what you can see here with the licenses, they are joined and conceivably haul mineralization from Elizabeth up to the mill at Black Dome is a certain potential. Looking at a little bit more detail, both of the projects are a little bit different. Elizabeth mesothermal deposit, they're both subvertical veins. At Black Dome, it's an epithermal deposit which had existing and was in production from 1985 to 1991, produced 230,000 ounces at an average grade of 22 grams per ton. So, this is partially, we're focused on increasing the resource, primarily at Elizabeth at this time, but it does have certainly near-term production potential with the existing infrastructure at Black Dome. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail here. Here's where we're drilling at Elizabeth. For scale, the beige area with the porphyry, that's about 800 meters in strike length across that. There's a 206,000 ounce inferred resource at Elizabeth. It's not NI 43-101 compliant, but most of that has been focused on was at the southwest vein that you can see in the photo here. So in our drilling campaigns, we've drilled a total of 39 holes since we started drilling in 2020. So 10,000 meters of drilling. A lot of that was focused on this Elizabeth Southwest vein, where we're increasing the historical resource at depth and along strike, as well as infill drilling. And then if you're familiar with our story, recently discovered this blue vein that's highlighted there with drilling of hole number 12, intersection of a meter at over 30 grams per ton. So that it's the nature of this is very, very high grade. We have vein widths vary between a meter and up to six and a half meters. in total width. We're expanding the sort of resource is the focus along the southwest vein, now this blue vein. You can see some of the black dots on this diagram are the historic drilling. So there hasn't been a lot of drillings, particularly on these west vein and main vein. And this will be part of our upcoming drill program for this year. We're targeting another 8,500 meters of drilling. That's another 25 to 30 new holes. We'll be announcing our detailed sort of exploration plan in this coming weeks, but it will certainly include the extension of this blue vein, the further drilling of the southwest vein, and then starting to look at these west and main veins. And historically in 2003, some trenching that was done on this west vein. We have 55 grams per ton gold over 20 meters in the surface trenching, and the similar 14 grams per ton on the sort of main vein over 20 meters as well from surface trenching. So there's a lot of potential of additional sort of veins here, and the overall strategic plan is to develop enough that brings us into a production scenario, and we can leverage off of all the existing infrastructure in the middle at sort of Black Dome. This is a cross section that shows some of the grades and the intersections from the drilling of last year. You know, in the very late of 2020, you see the whole, this is the southwest vein, see the whole 2006, that's 5 meters at 61 grams. And that included another subsection of 1.5 meters at 186 grams. So, I mean, this very high grade nature here, and here you can see it, how it's developed into two, potential ore shoots that are developing the north and south along this southwest vein. But the grades are we have nice widths, 2104, 4 meters, 31 grams, and including higher grade subsections. Some of the deeper drilling, we're trying to extend this at depth. We did get some lower grade hits on some of the deeper drilling, 2105, for example, but it shows the sort of structure is continuing. And with this style of mesothermal mineralization, it's quite nuggety. And, so it's open at depth, it's open along sort of strike, both to the north. So the whole intention is to explore these along 800 to a kilometer, 800 meters to a kilometer sort of strike in each of these veins. Now, looking at, as I mentioned, this blue vein that we just discovered this year, this is 150 meters from the southwest vein to the northwest of the southwest vein. We intersected some visible gold in the discovery hole, which was 2112, the 1 meter at almost 34 grams per ton. And since that, we've put another, in total, there's 7 holes into the blue vein, and 5 of them have graded over an ounce. So we have, again, it's starting to develop. We're thinking in similar structure to what we've seen in the southwest vein. We drilled the remainder of the holes in the season off of the blue or off of the same pad as the discovery hole. And we now have it sort of delineated over about 80 meters with the hole number 27, which was 1.4 meters at 14 grams, and hole number 26 was about over 9 grams. So that gives us about 80 meters along strike. And the plan going forward for this year is to continue to flesh this vein out along strike and at depth. So this just started with the blue vein. This hadn't outcropped the surface. We discovered this just through our drilling of 2112. And this is just, really the start. Here's a cross section that shows these veins and the orientation. This is all done to GIS. You can see the blue vein that's about 150 meters between that and the southwest vein. And then you can see the structure that has been defined on the west vein and the main vein, but it is yet to be sort of explored. And one of the things we're progressing with our permitting is to access this lower portal. We have a notice of work permit in to open up. This is an existing portal that goes in about 800 meters. We have a permit to extend that where we'd establish a cross-cut parallel to the southwest vein for some underground drilling, because it gives us a very good aspect. We don't have to drill through the surface overburden, and would enable us to operate and drill all season long, all year long. So, you know, we are gearing up for a drill program. Last year we got in at the very beginning of June. We'll be doing the targeting that. So we're in the sort of planning stage now, you know, and, you know, as I mentioned, the southwest vein held a good portion of the historic resource, about 70% of the historic resource. And so, you know, our overall strategy is to firm up, you know, several of these veins that would support a move to pre-feasibility and down the track production. Then we have the existing mill. Here's a picture of the mill at Black Dome. It's an all-weather proof, fantastic piece of infrastructure. Again, it operated for 5 years. All the equipment is there. We're currently working with JDS Engineering in Vancouver, where we're looking at what were the potential costs for a restart of that mill. So we're ticking some of the, I guess, the PEA boxes in terms of some of the development work. There's been quite a bit of metallurgical test work done utilizing core from Elizabeth. And there's the operating history from Black Dome, of course, but we're seeing 95% recoveries utilizing the existing circuit, which is basically crushing, grinding, gravity, and flotation. We would be looking to add sort of cyanidation circuit to that, or a leaching circuit. So you know, we're looking at forward. It's still preliminary in terms of we still need to focus on getting the resource, but with all this infrastructure in place, and, you know, we're seeing some very promising sort of numbers on, you know, the initial numbers on terms of what it would cost to bring this back into production, that, you know, we would certainly have the ability to fast track this. I want to turn a little bit, that kind of encapsulates a snapshot of Elizabeth Black Dome. Yeah, but I just want to, we have a few minutes left to talk about Ecuador, what we have going on in Ecuador. And these were projects that the company acquired before it acquired Elizabeth Black Dome, shortly after it became listed in Australia. And they're in a fantastic neighborhood, Cordera, in the southeastern part of Ecuador, with some major copper porphyry and gold deposits. You have the Chinese railway construction operating Mirador just to the north. That's less than 10 kilometers to the north of our two projects, which are Valle de Tigre and Rio Zarza. Were encompassed within a Lundin Newcrest joint venture. Fruta del Norte is adjacent to our Rio Zarza project. You know, it's a large scale gold deposit. So what we're doing at Valle de Tigre, we're currently active there now, have a team in the field. We're doing up to 1,000 soil samples. We'll treat with mobile metal ion sort of assay technique. And that's following up on some geophysical anomalies that we've identified over several kilometers that have the potential for both copper and sort of gold mineralization. And we did some sampling last year. Now we're following up with an intensive sort of sampling program. So we've already collected about 750 of those samples, another few weeks in the field collecting those samples, and then we'll have the assays out in due course over the next couple of months. So that certainly with the, you know, where we are in the neighborhood. Here's a snapshot of Rio Zarza. That's also sort of a drill ready project. Could be the extension of Fruta del Norte. It's got a very significant geophysical signature. There's some deep holes required to test that theory out. But with these two projects, this is something that is developing quite well in Ecuador. And Tim, that probably about wraps it up for the overview of the presentation. I could hand it over to you for any questions. Thank you.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Jason, for the informative presentation. We'll now move on to the Q&A session here. We do have a question or two. First, looking at the Black Dome mill, do you own the mill 100%?
Yes, we own the Black Dome mill and all the associated infrastructure 100%. That's on a mining license. So, we have quite a bit of sort of flexibility. And also the tailings dam is a fully compliant tailings dam that was associated with the previous production. And this is all sort of fully permitted, other than, putting in a notice of work to bring that into operation. It would be an advantage in fast tracking a project in the future.
Great. And to what extent is and you had touched on it in the presentation, but to what extent would it's been a while since it was in production, but to what extent is the equipment potentially usable, or is it more about the site itself being used for a new mill?
Well, it's a combination of both, but we've had, Team JDS have done an initial inspection of the mill and inventory of everything that's there. It was closed up, properly at the time, which, helps a lot. We have the gen sets, and so we've been looking at, we have a, detailed study going on right now. The ball mill is one of the key components. We've been looking at the capacity of that, and can we tweak that? Is it more than 200 ton a day? Could it be 250? What would we need to do to expand this if we went to a larger production scenario, let's say with Elizabeth and Black Dome contributing sort of mill feed? So we're looking at all these scenarios, but with the infrastructure itself, the building, and it's all reinforced cement pads where the crushers and that, we have quite a bit of room that we can add a circuit within the existing mill, and these are some of the options we're exploring. What can we add the cyanidization circuit right there within the existing infrastructure? So it is a key advantage. We own it 100%. We have total flexibility. It's wet, all weather, all year round sort of facility. So it's
great.
It's a key asset.
Absolutely. And shifting here to the financial side, how much cash do you have on hand, and how much would you need for ongoing work?
Yeah, so with the currently end of the year 2.5 million, a little bit less than that right now. A fair bit of that is earmarked for Elizabeth as flow through funds at the moment, and as guidance last year, I think we spent about 3.6 million at Elizabeth. We'd be looking at raising sufficient funds to spend in that 3.5 to $4 million. That'll enable us to have the sort of 8,000 meters of drilling or more at Elizabeth, and we're also we're still also looking at Black Dome in terms of study work and understanding where we are in the sort of structure there. But, that would be on the cards for future exploration. But, yeah, so, we'd be funding this through private placements. I'd like to get more equity into Canadian shareholders' hands, build up the shareholder base here in Canada as well as Australia.
Great. And very quickly, do you have past data from past work in Ecuador, and what is the plan going forward there?
Yeah, Ecuador, we have all the data from the past drilling that was done on Rio Zarza, and then Valle de Tigra, we're doing that exploration from, they're both greenfields projects. Rio Zarza is fully sort of permitted for drilling. We're also drilling permits take some time in Ecuador, so we're also starting that process on Valle de Tigra. So, the overall plan here, after we've done this initial geophysics, look at these the results of the soils we're doing now, and identify drill targets, and then we can look at, okay, how do we do this as a package? Is there does it make sense? Do we want to joint venture with someone there? Do we want to do it, independently? But together we'll have two drill ready sort of projects there, and decide how we take them forward.